Doug Henry, 30 years old, from Torrington, Connecticut. I guess it started out as riding a bicycle, jumping manure piles, you know. It was just a challenge, and it was, you know, it was a challenging thing, and it was exciting. The high that you get first time you do something, that first big step you take is, it's such a good feeling. You know, it's just like, wow, I can't believe I just did that. My first, year of racing was '85. First race broke my arm. Oh, my God. I didn't really decide to choose it as a career until '95, I guess, you know. I mean, this was after riding for Honda for a couple of years. You know, I was still looking at it as just a hobby, I guess, a fun thing to do. And then when you start making money at it, I guess it becomes a career. I didn't really decide to make it a career. Certain years you have different competitors, but as a whole, I'd say that Jeff and Jeremy were the toughest. You know, and then you come to certain tracks, and some guys are faster than others. But when it all comes down to it, I'm my toughest competitor. When I originally did it, you know, I thought, I hurt my back. You know, I was worried because I wasn't going to be ready for the second moto. And then as time went on, and you know, we went and got X-rays done, and you know, it was looking really bad, and they had some doctors' opinions saying it was really bad, and then we found a doctor that said you know, that they could get me back to 100%. They could get my body back to 100%. Stacy and I, when we were in the hospital, we said, you know, 3 months. I said, you know, we both agreed that we wouldn't decide to go back to racing for 3 months. 2 weeks later, I remember sitting in the driveway in our Oxford house, and I'm sitting there and I was thinking for a while. I was real emotional at the time. I said, I'm going to go back to racing. And she just looked at me and smiled and said, 3 months, we're going to decide. I said, okay. You know, I just didn't want to like kind of upset her, I guess, you know, deciding to so soon, but I knew then that I'd be back racing. Bodily injuries, you know, it heals, you know. It's, you know, that stuff is easy, in a way, that stuff is easy to build. It kind of does it by itself. Right. Mentally, that's a tougher game a tougher strength to master. And I felt like mentally I was real strong. Even though my body was busted up, I was still mentally strong. You get setbacks and you learn from them, and, you know, everybody has it, you know, everybody gets injuries. You know, I feel bad for Jeff. I gave him a call, you know, just to talk to him and just to hope that he's doing good, you know, because I know it's a tough thing to come back from one injury, but then let alone do it again. Exactly. You know, it's kind of tough. But if you want to do it, if it's in your heart to do it, you know, you'll be sure to come back. It was the end of '96, and you know, '95 I broke my back. I came back to racing in '96, and I struggled the whole year. I won the moto at Washougal, and I finally felt like, okay, I'm getting back competitive again. And then, you know, I was going to negotiate for another year, and they had said that they wanted me to ride a four-stroke, and you know, and I'm like, what, you know? I just struggled all year. Now you want me to ride this thing that, you know, who knows what it's all about and everything. And so that was my first impression. Well, then I went out and rode it, okay? And I rode it at a real hard, slippery, fast track, and of course it's going to be better there. And it was neat. It was a cool-looking bike. I mean, the thing looked, you know, I've never seen anything like it. You know, I looked at it as a challenge and something different, you know. Maybe I didn't have to go for, you know, just thinking of myself and winning for myself. Maybe I could look at it as going out there and just trying to do the best on a different type of machine. It was just kind of like a new challenge. I think since two-strokes have dominated for so long, there's always been a two-stroke fan and a four-stroke fan. But the four-stroke fans, they didn't have much to talk about, you know, because just the two-strokes were so dominant. So I really had a big following going to the four-stroke and then being successful on it. So many of the four-stroke guys could come out of the closet, you know. Pete Fox called me up and asked me if we could do a photo of my scar. I guess he saw it somewhere or something. and he asked if he could do a photo. And I kind of felt weird. I guess it's kind of ugly to me. I just don't like it, you know, I'm scarred. He was looking for a certain type of ad, and if it came out the way he wanted it, he'd run it. And if it didn't, he wouldn't run it. So I was happy with that. I thought it came out really good. You know, I thought it was really neat. And then again, I had a lot of response, you know, from that photo. I guess my philosophy on life is you could have whatever you want if you just want it bad enough. I think you should have fun no matter what you're doing, you know. Don't take things too serious. This little piece of paper hangs on my fridge, and I try and go by it, try to live by it. It's just something that says attitude. The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on my life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It is more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures, than successes, than what other people think or say or do. It is more important than appearances, giftedness, or skill. It would make or break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is plan the one string we have, and that is our attitude. I am convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitudes. Attitude is everything.